Yeah. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mark along with Josh Wenning, my friend here. We're going to be hanging out for the next hour or so with you. So we are going to start just chit chatting for a few minutes to give you guys a chance to get on with us. So I see there's some of you already here. This is great. You were fast. We've already got 6, 7, 8 people. Wow, that's really fast in a couple seconds. You guys are great. Um, as you guys are coming in, let's do what we normally do. Why don't you let us know where you're watching from, what state you're in, maybe. Tell us what weather's like. Now, if it's nice and cool where you are, we don't want to hear about it because that's just annoying, right? No, I'm kidding. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us what the weather's like, and maybe tell us what you've been working on this week. What kind of projects you got going on? Paulette, I see you. Hey, from Texas, Paulette, good to see you. Josh, while we're waiting, tell everybody what state you're in. Where are you at? You're over in
I'm in Ohio.
Ohio.
It's,
That's right. Yep.
super muggy right now.
Yeah, I bet. Are you in what are you? What part of Ohio? What are you close to?
um, Probably the closest thing you know is Dayton,
Okay, Dayton. Sure.
that area. But a real small town, originally from St. Henry, Ohio. So it's like a population of like 1,200 people. So it was real small.
Nice. That's great. Well, see, everybody, you can see that it's community. He's a Buckeye and I'm a Wolverine, and I still talk to him, so it's all good. We haven't talked about it. Do you actually care about sports much? Are you a sports guy?
I don't really watch sports that
Yeah.
much, but every once
You
in a
know,
while there's a Buckeye game. It's usually Buckeyes versus Michigan is the only one that ever comes up around in there.
well, and honestly, for the most part, it's always been in your favor. I mean, for a long, long time. So it's been good. I'm a big fan, but I really don't care. I just play along because it's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. I've got a pastor friend who's a big Buckeye, and we watch games together, but we can't watch that one together because we just. I'm tired of getting my butt kicked every year. So yeah. All right, cool. We got Will Louie. Will, are you still in Reno? You are in Reno, Navidad. Reno, Navidad, right? 102 degrees. Gross. Got Music Chick Art. How are you? You always hang out with us from Toronto. 72 degrees. That is nice. Will, yeah, Will's a Detroit Lions fan. You know, that's possibly even more long suffering than the Wolverines, right?
Yeah.
Josh, have the Lions even won? They haven't won anything in your whole lifetime, I'm pretty sure, and Will either. They haven't. Diane, hot in Sacramento. Yep. Will, hey, let us know in the chat when you're coming back home. Are you heading home tomorrow? Today? Not today, of course. When are you heading back home? It's great. We got almost 30 people here already, so that's excellent. All right. Well, we're going to give us a couple more minutes. Just talk to us about where you guys are from, where you're watching from, what your weather looks like, and maybe let us know what projects you're working on this week. Josh, I know you've always got stuff going on. Is there anything? What are you working on right now? I saw you did a bunch of the different can holders, drink holders, all that kind of thing. What else you got brewing?
Still been staying on that theme, but lately I've been making those like plant holders. I'm sure you've seen those.
Oh my gosh, those are so cool.
It's pretty cool. Like this little thing here.
Yes, and then you made one that had a tree in it, right?
Yeah, like there's all sorts of different things you can do with it. There's like Christmas trees or whatever. Yeah.
But, it's hard for me to say what my favorite is of yours because every so often you make something else I like, so it's hard to pick a favorite. But I will say I love those planters. Those are really good looking. They're really great.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with how they turned out. Only thing is obviously there isn't like a drain for like live plants unless you have like a separate pot in there that holds water, it retains it. So
sure.
But it looks great with like those fake plants and stuff.
Yeah, I just realized I want to make sure that I get a slide ready to put your website on the screen. So I'm going to do that real quick. Everybody, if you have not met Josh before, again, this is Josh Wenning. He's from a lot of places, including the Glowforge at Home Facebook group. So if you have not joined him already over in his group, you definitely should. Glowforge at Home. And then also, I'm going to put his website on the screen here. Of course, I can't type and talk at the same time. I'm just not that coordinated. FreshStartCustoms.com, is that correct? Yep. Excellent. And you can also find him on Etsy too. Look up Fresh Start Customs. Either way, it doesn't matter. But you definitely need to check out his work because it's fantastic. We'll be talking about it here in a few minutes. Let me catch up with some of the chat there. Deborah, good to see you from Albuquerque. You were always on here. Diane, your husband is a diehard Lions fan. Man, That has been a tough road for most of my adult lifetime. It really has. Music Chick Art. Hey, you're making more of my lanterns. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Judy, a cooler day in Dallas. It's only 98 degrees. You almost wore a jacket after last week's 110. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't miss that weather. I used to live in Arizona for like 3 years. So
look, Diane bought your plant stand. She hasn't made it yet. Dan, you're going to love it. It's super cool.
Yeah, definitely. You kind of like that.
Oh, hey, we got somebody from Australia again, back here again. You were here yesterday, right? I think you were with us yesterday, Christy. Back again, had to convert temps, but it's 63 degrees. Thanks for doing that for us American public school people who don't know metric system like we should.
Love that weather right now.
Oh my gosh, 63. Be amazing. That's what I'd like to keep my house at, but I can't afford it. Well, I can't even get there. Forget afford it. Doesn't do it. Sharon, you're in Texas and it's hot. Yep, absolutely. Here in Oklahoma, it is pretty dang warm. Let me see. What is it right now? Right now in Tulsa or Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Yep, it's 100 degrees. Yeah, real feel is 99. That's not right, but man, that's crazy. Oh, hey, a couple more things here. We'll give Josh some props right up front. I've made Josh's keychain stand, and it's perfect. That's the one we were looking at yesterday, right, Josh? Or this morning?
I don't know. I got like 15 different keychain stands. Maybe elaborate on which one. Maybe I got this one right here. Let's see. Was it this one right here?
Is it this one? Let us know.
Or maybe it was
I love that one. Yeah, let us know. Yes or no. That's good.
The double one would be the most popular. So.
And Miriam, thank you for that. Lanterns are a big seller for you. That's great. I love that. Josh and I were talking about several stories this morning about how much we love hearing when people make a bunch of money from our designs. That's really, I mean, we love to take care of our families by doing these designs. Of course, that's good, but we love it when you guys can make money. That is just fantastic. So really, really good.
So it looks like it was the 2-layered one.
2-layer one, yeah.
That one everybody seems like that one.
That's great. Great. We're gonna highlight that here before the end of the show today. Sharon, you said your daughter's at UCO. My daughter's at UCO also. So maybe shoot me a DM and we'll talk about that. But my daughter's there for her 3rd year. So yeah, that's where she's at as well, down in Edmond. In fact, we're going down there in a few weeks to help her move. So yeah, go Broncos, right? Jenny says, hi, Josh.
Hey,
Josh. Jenny. Yep. Susan says she's made several of your headphone stands. That's awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, Jenny's done some of the file testing for me too in the past. So.
Great. That's excellent. I love it. I love getting these communities together. So again, I'm going to start out here. We're going to get started here, and I'm just going to introduce Josh real quick. I'll let him talk about himself. And for those of you guys who don't know Josh, again, he's from FreshStartCustoms.com. We've known each other as designers for several years now. I honestly don't remember.
It's probably been like 6 years or so.
Yeah, it's been a while since we both got started, right?
Yeah. I
don't remember if we just bumped into each other. Probably Glowforge user group, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. But I'll just go ahead and talk about this for a second. Josh, out of all the designers out there, he's kind of somebody that I feel we have a lot of similarities and a lot of similarities in style and the things that we like. And I can't tell you how many times Josh has posted something and I'm like, dang it. If I would have made that thing, that's how I would have liked to have made it. But he did it better than me and he did it before me. And I really appreciate both his design ability and also just his willingness to help people, because we're going to talk about your YouTube channel here in just a minute. But why don't we start this, Josh, for people who don't know you, just tell them a little bit of your story of, I asked you earlier when you got your Glowforge, and I realized your laser journey started way before the Glowforge. So start way back in high school and kind of walk us up to today, and I'll just jump in with questions as we have them. And guys, by the way, if you have questions for Josh, drop them in the chat, and I will make sure that I fire them at him. So Josh, tell us your kind of how you got started back in high school with an Epilogue, was it?
Yeah, I believe it was an Epilogue laser, and that's kind of whenever I've always had the interest ever since then, because I made my first laser engraving design in high school. It was like shop class or ag class, or if you guys are from a small area, the FFA, the Future Farmers America class thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, right, and I think it was junior high or something when they got that laser. It's like 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
So I made 2 laser engraving designs from then. I actually got my first original design here for you guys. This is I used
that's great.
cycle a lot, so this was what I made in that shop class all those years ago.
Let me let people see it a little better here. Hold on. There you go. Nice.
Hold it the right way. There you go.
Harley Davidson. That's pretty big.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a cabinet door. It was just like one of those like shop class designs that we were going to be making.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty fun. Ever since then, I made one for my. I used to have like a Pontiac, and I did like Pontiac racing engraving and stuff. It was pretty fun. And then obviously, it just slipped my mind for a few years, and then later on in life, I ended up buying like a K40 laser.
Yeah.
And that's back when I knew absolutely nothing. Because a lot of people think that I just inherently know this or something, but I don't. That was back when I knew nothing. I had the K40 without an air assist or anything, and it took 6 hours to engrave like a design this big.
Right.
Yeah.
How long did you have that? I'll jump ahead, but how long did you have that before you ordered your Glowforge?
So I had that probably a year, maybe, because like within the first week, because I had it out in the garage, I didn't know any better. It was in the summer, and then all of a sudden we got a cold snap and ended up snapping the tube because it went from 60 degrees down to like 31 within a day's time or something. Ooh. So that was a quick lesson learned on that. But yeah, then heard about the Glowforge and then went in on that startup campaign.
Yep, same as me, right?
We did 2-3 years and almost jumped out and jumped back in. I was super nervous about it the whole time. Everybody thought.
Now, did you order in October of 2015? Is that right?
I think I ordered like shortly after the campaign, like the first campaign. It was like November or something, right after.
Do you remember? I don't know how much you remember then. And I ordered late October, like maybe the 20th or the 15th or something. Yeah. And they said, "Oh yeah, this is coming out in December." And I was like, "Oh sweet! It'll be, I don't know if I can wait for 2 months, but maybe."
Yeah.
And of course, 2 months turned into.
It's like 2-3 years.
It was 2 years.
Yeah.
I got mine in December of 2017.
Yeah.
It was a long wait, man. I almost bailed so many times, but my wife says, "No, just act like the money doesn't exist. Just wait." And so I was in the forum, the Glowforge forum, like every freaking day, learning how this machine that I don't even have, works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was like, I don't even know how old I was. It was like 21 or 22 whenever I first ordered it. And it was a lot of money at the time. I just bought my first house and I was like super nervous and I was like waiting 3 years for this. And so, I almost jumped out a few times, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to just let it ride. And that's all it is.
So when it finally arrived at your house, did you hit the ground running? Did you get started slow? What did that look like?
Well, that's why I started my YouTube channel. It was basically just being a fresh newbie. Yeah. And I just kind of videotaped everything along the way all these years. Like from my very first video was setting up the Glowforge. That was my first experience with everything.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I think my first design ever was like one of those little dice cubes from the Glowforge.
Yeah.
I had no idea about kerf or anything, so it would just fall apart.
Yep.
Tape it together.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you started making stuff, and then did you start selling some items, or how did you go from there, getting your Glowforge to where you are now? What did that journey look like a little bit?
So it started out just purely as a hobby and just videotaping out on YouTube and just trying to share with the community because like I joined all the Facebook groups right at the start.
Yeah.
It was just helping people learn as I learned kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it kind of progressed into, I made like my Facebook page where I shared like my videos there too.
Yeah.
And then I made like a Glowforge settings page, where I literally used to test like a new material every week, and then I eventually ran out of material to test. So
Yeah.
I just let that go stagnant for a long time there. And then it went to name your own price files.
Oh yeah, I remember you doing that. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I had a group where it was like, I was just, because I had the designs anyways, and I was like, you know what, I'll just try this out because people kept asking me for designs.
Yeah.
And I was like, just name a price and I'll give you the files. So a lot of people said like $1 or $2, and some people are super nice and would do like $10 for a design that I was shocked with. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was a pretty fun time, but it was a lot of like, it was kind of hard because you had to wait and email it, and then you had to wait for PayPal and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
then Etsy kind of came around, and that made things a lot easier, and people didn't have to wait around for emails and stuff like that.
So you, in your case, when you got onto Etsy, it was kind of just rolling everything you'd already been doing into Etsy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
for me,
you encouraged me into
did I?
This new website thing.
Oh yeah, the website. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you did it, man. In fact, I'm just gonna toot Josh's horn a little bit here. If you guys don't, first of all, tell me in the chat, everybody that has already interacted with Josh in some way, if you already knew Josh, if you're in his group, if you watched any of his videos, just give me a thumbs up or a high five or something in the chat, because I want to see how many people have already interacted with him before. But besides being a great designer, and you got really good attention to detail, you're also great at helping people figure stuff out. In fact, for those of you guys who haven't seen his YouTube channel, I want to show it to you. So let me just pop that on the screen here for a second. Here's Josh's YouTube channel. It's Fresh Start Customs. It's easy to find, just like his website. And he's got, look at that, 6.22 thousand subscribers, which is great. And do you know how many videos you have? I don't even know.
I think it's like 200 some videos. They're all Glowforge related for the most part.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you have a lot of just designer stuff too, right? You've got
like projects I build, and then like different like tips and tricks, like all sorts of different things. Anything I think that'll help someone, or a question that comes up, I'm usually like, hey, I'll make a video on that, because I work a second job too, so it makes it a lot easier just to drop the video, and then it'll explain it in super good detail to someone.
Absolutely.
Spending a long time in that thing.
Well, so Josh and I talked earlier today. Boy, once again, Josh, I can't type and talk at the same time. It's fantastic. But we talked about what were some of the videos that you had that you either liked the most or that people really liked. And one of the ones you pointed out was this one called Must-Haves and Recommended Glowforge Laser Accessories. This one's been viewed, 18,000 times, which is fantastic. Tell us what's in that video a little bit, if you would.
So yeah, like one of the common questions you always get is like, what kind of materials or accessories should I get with the Glowforge? And that video is kind of embarrassing, because it's like one of the first videos that I've ever done. Just because I had like a really bad, like I had my old Huawei cell phone and all that stuff to record. But that one basically goes through, like, I don't know, there's probably 30 some items that people always ask me, like, what are you doing it with? Well, simple green. What do you mask wood with? And the masking tape, and then all sorts of different like tools that are available, or cool different things that you can use. So.
Here's a question. I'll let you answer this from Brenda. What program do you use to create your files?
I use Adobe Illustrator. I tried Inkscape. It just wasn't for me. There's just it's just kind of all out there. It Illustrator kind of was nice for me though, because it goes hand in hand with Photoshop, and I've been doing Photoshop since high school. I actually took 2 years of like a college level class while I was in high school on Photoshop and stuff. So, so it was kind of a good jump start into Illustrator.
But ultimately you're self-taught in Illustrator though, right?
Yeah, like I did everything through YouTube, and then correlated some of the tools with Photoshop and kind of learned that way.
That's great. Well, there's another playlist that I want to call everybody's attention to, and it's called Glowforge to the Point. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that. You've got, let me see, 11 videos in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could probably expand on it some more, but I just haven't gotten back around to it. But that's literally like what I think everybody should watch if they're just starting out is like all 11 of those in a series, because it'll teach you like how to upload, how to use the dashboard, how to learn Curve, all the way up to designing your first like stand-up stand like we do. Like
Yeah.
I make quite a bit.
Yep.
So yeah. So it'll teach you all about it, and then it'll teach you like even there's like the safe laser materials that you can use in there.
Episode 9. Yep. I love it. That's great. So you really do. I'm going to read the titles real quick, guys, but you really should check out this playlist. So he's got an overview of the dashboard, how to upload an SVG or PDF. In fact, make a mental note. We'll come back to the PDF conversation we had, earlier today.
Yeah.
How to create your first design, how to use different settings, how to set focus, getting to know your must-have laser tools, understanding Curve, creating 3D slot and tab design basics, laser safe material overview, advanced keychains using offset path, which is great, and then slot stand creation. Guys, if you're a beginner at the Glowforge, definitely check out this playlist and go and subscribe to his channel, because it'll be well worth your time and well worth your money, which it's free, of course. But definitely subscribe to his, because you'll be glad you did. And I see there's a number of people over here that said they've used your files, they've used your tutorials, which is great.
Yeah, believe it or not, most of those videos in this series, this one was the reason why I call it To the Point, is I made them as short as I possibly could on those topics.
Yeah.
And each of those, if you go through my channel, there's longer ones. There's like 18-minute ones on those same topics that are more in depth. So if you need even more in-depth stuff, I have that too.
That's great. Oh, I'm going to play an ad now. That's fantastic. So let us know if you guys have any questions for Josh. It doesn't have to be about the Glowforge. It can be about something else, because he knows quite a bit about design in general. But again, go and subscribe to his channel. Let me also introduce you to his website. Again, it's freshstartcustoms.com. And let me grab this real quick, and we'll put that on there. How many designs do you have available total? Do you know a number? Do you know off the top of your head?
I think I have like 340, or maybe even more than that, 360, something like that.
Nice. A lot. That's great. You just put the pressure on me, because that sounds like you have more than I do. That's awesome. Okay, so here's his website, and let me put it up on the screen here. Fresh Start Customs. And once again, as you can imagine, you can just scroll through here and see all of his designs. He's also got several groupings of products. And we talked about, I asked him that dangerous question, what's your favorite design? And that's just like asking who's your favorite child that you have, which you can't really do that. So if you had to pick, you would mentioned a couple of them that you're really proud of. The supercomputer was one. Is that right?
Yeah, that's probably like the only reason why is because I spent forever on it, and I'm super into like building computers and stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of built my own wooden computer essentially, and all of those parts are actually removable, like a real computer, where you install it like a real computer. So
yeah,
super cool. Like all the way down to the RAM, and the graphics cards can come out and in, and all sorts of cool stuff.
Also, it's upgradable. That's great. You can you can put in more RAM and everything, right? Put a new video card.
Yeah,
right?
I've actually it was kind of cool. There was a person who bought one for their high school class, where they kind of taught them without actually using a real computer, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
So it was kind of a neat little
that's fun
thing someone shared with me.
That's cool. And then the other we talked about two more. The record players, you got, I think, 2 or 3 of them. 2.
Yeah, I got two record players, like a real mini one that's like 4x4 or 4.5 inches, something like that, and a real large one.
These are both really cool, guys. You ought to check these out for sure. So here's one here.
And then the little like arm swings over on it.
Oh man, that's cool. Very good. Now, what's interesting, guys, some of you have seen the one I've made, and I'll say this up front. His is cooler than mine. Absolutely. And it's funny that I had never even seen his before. And then when I saw his and I saw the arm move, and I don't know the terms of a record player, but the platter, I guess, that has all the dots around it. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's really cool.
That was something we were talking about earlier. It's amazing to me, like how you and I like almost share half of a brain.
We do. I know.
Like it was amazing how like we both released that sunglasses file and like
we did
day, like within the same hour almost.
It's crazy, and we didn't even know either one was doing it.
Yeah,
and our sources were. I mean, I was doing it for a particular customer. You were doing it for a different reason, but it's amazing. It really is, and yet our styles are similar but different, right? Like
way different.
but yeah, at the same time, our I think that your stuff would fit in my store and mine and yours. We do favor a design style that way, which I think is really cool. That my favorite section of yours, though, has got to be all of the gaming stands. Let's look at those for a minute. You've made a couple gaming stands.
Those are super popular. I had a guy tell me that he sold 200 of those already. So.
Oh, that's great. Do you know which one he's talking about?
Yeah, so the PlayStation one and the Xbox one, the first two are technically the same, but for SEO purposes, I had to put it in two different ones there.
Okay, let me just pull those up on the screen here. So if you guys are gamers out there, or if you have gamers in your family, these are cool, man. Definitely check out all of his gaming stands because they are really great. Really great.
Yeah, I've seen so many variations of that too. It's always awesome to see like how many different ones people can come up with like different acrylics and all that. It's neat.
It's so clean. I mean, as a designer, I love it. It's all what it needs to be, but it's not anything it doesn't need to be. I mean, I love your use of acrylic. There's that acrylic on the bottom.
Yeah. So it's like there for the longest time, I was into like hybrid designs where it was like 1/4 inch acrylic and then 1/8 inch wood. Yeah, that's it gives off that really cool effect like that.
It does. I love it.
You go back to the Xbox one. That's probably my favorite, like mixture of the green glass.
So this one here.
Yeah, that one there. Just the green glass kind of sets it off. It's really cool.
Green glass is gorgeous. Yeah. I love it. That's really cool. So again, you guys should check these out. And I'm going to give you a little teaser. For those of you guys who are in my group, we do Win Stuff Wednesdays a lot. And we're going to be doing a Win Stuff Wednesday tomorrow. So be watching. I'll talk about this again at the end of the broadcast tonight. But tomorrow we're going to have a Win Stuff Wednesday where I'm going to ask a question. All you got to do is answer the question. And then I'm going to, on Thursday morning at about 9 a.m., I'm going to randomly choose a couple of winners. And we're going to give away a $50 gift card to Josh's website just for participating. So one of you is going to be able to go and just go shopping. And I'm going to do that same thing with mine as well. So we're going to have two different people win. But somebody is going to get a chance to go shopping for a bunch of cool things. And this is going to be a lot of fun. And if you've ever participated in any of our Win Stuff Wednesdays, they're really fun because they're just silly. A few weeks ago, we did Best Dad Joke. It was awful. And by awful, I mean great. It was just some of the worst jokes ever, which is so great. Oh, I forgot. I closed it, but you also made some sign language letters. Tell me about those.
Yeah, so that was kind of a cool thing. Like I always love like hearing stories from what people do with the designs.
Yeah.
So with that, it's kind of like your Scrabble letters in a way, like how you make those.
Yeah.
This one is just sign languages, and I made it for like the National Sign Language Day originally. That's where it came up with the idea. And I used to take like sign language back in the day, but I forgot all about that.
Right.
I just can't remember it from that time since I don't have anybody to do it with. But yeah, that was this lady told me that she works for like a school system across seas. I don't know exactly where it was anymore, but she actually put this in a lot of different sign language classes or like classrooms. It was kind of cool. So
yeah, that's very cool. I love it. That's awesome. It's really cool to hear, you know, in the day that I know I'm going to sound old when I say this, but the day that we live in, how we really can connect with people all over the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Josh, I don't know if I told you this, or I'll love to tell everybody else too. I had an intern who was working for me in my office here a few months ago. Just a wonderful young lady. She was great. And as she was working for me, she started telling me about her sister that lives down in Chile. And she was talking to her sister one day and asking her sister, what are you guys doing in school? And they said, hey, I'm a senior and we're getting a chance to learn how to use this laser here, but nobody knows how to use it. So we found this guy on YouTube, Big Blue something. And she had no idea that her sister was working for that guy. And so she was just talking about some random person. And she goes, Big Blue Laser Designs? And she goes, yeah. And she goes, I'm sitting in his office right now.
That's funny.
It was crazy how small the world is. Just
it is. It really is, because it's always like interesting how like you run into somebody that you see or see in the group or something. Or like some guy was in the group quite a while ago that lives like just like down the street from me.
Yeah. And you didn't even know it, right?
Yeah, no idea.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your Facebook group for a second. So what's the name of your Facebook group? I know what it is, but let everybody else know.
So that's Glowforge at Home. It's basically just like if you have like a small business at home or just you Glowforge from home, for sharing tips or help, or if you want to do sales, we got like a pinned post at the top for sales. So you just put anything in there. And then if you just post like for the fun of it in the group and someone asks for a link, just put it in the comments versus the main thing. That's all that we really ask. And otherwise, pretty much a free for all. If you look at any of the pinned posts on the top of the group, that's got like a spot if you want to be a file tester and you want to test out like designs. Like I said earlier, Jenny, that's how Jenny started doing some file testing for me.
That's great.
And then we did the physical sales leads. So what that is basically if you sell physical items and you want like sales leads, you can be on that list. And if someone, for example, I don't do shipping at all. I hate shipping, so I don't do physical items usually. If I do physical items, I'll do it in my hometown. But I get requests all the time to like, can you ship this to me? And I'm like, no, I don't do shipping, but this person in my group in this list that you can choose from, they probably will. And then that person just buys a file from me and they get a free sale for the physical item. So
that's great. So you're just connecting people, right?
Yeah, pretty much just connecting two people.
Yeah.
And then all they need to do is have a pre-made design and print it and ship it, and that's it.
That's really great. I love that. And that's so simple, and yet I don't know anyone else who's doing that. So that's fantastic. Oh, great. And Jenny said he helped me out when I couldn't figure it out, and the buyer loved it. Yeah. So that's really great.
And the design or the group name is Glowforge at Home.
Glowforge at Home. Yep. Fantastic. Oh, I got a couple other things I really want you to talk about, but you do a group project occasionally. Tell me about that, or tell everybody else about what you do there.
Yeah, so every once in a while, whenever I get extra free time, I'll make a free file, and then I'll throw it into the main post at the top of the group, and then the group can build off of that free file. So at the start, it was really active with people where I did that resting lid candy box. You can still get that free to this day on my website. So if you want to download that, you can still download it. But we did there was probably 15 different versions that people made. It was super cool. Nick made this super cool sword box out of it. And what was it? There was all sorts of cool ones. So somebody did an octopus shaped one where it had portholes and all sorts of cool stuff in it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. So yeah, I try and do that every once in a while, but it's hard to do with the second job plus the other stuff going on.
Matt says you sound like a really nice person. He's not. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Josh is every bit what you think he is. He's great. A lot of fun he helps so many different people. He's always willing, which is really great. So Matt, if you've not gotten his Facebook group, I recommend that you do that. Go do that for sure. So there it is again, Glowforge at Home Facebook group. So Josh, do you still have some of your comic book covers where you can reach them? I would love.
Yeah, I do have some of those. I know that's always a controversial topic, but
it isn't for me.
For personal use. So.
It isn't for me, and doggone it, this is my show.
You can grab those.
I love this. I won't say this is one of the first things that I saw him make, but it was one of the early things.
So here's a few of them.
Yeah.
So here's like,
so tell us how you did it and what it's made on. I'm going to give you the full screen so people can really see what you're doing here.
So I'm super into like comic books too.
Me too.
Not really reading them. I just love the artwork of it. It's really cool. So this is basically like a 3-layer design of Venom and Spider-Man here. So basically what I did is I just took the design into Photoshop, created the 3 layers using like a lasso tool, popped them out into different layers, and then I made 3 new layers that were solid black, and then brought the black layers into Illustrator, created the cut lines off of that, and then placed these into the cut lines, and that's how you come up with those layers there.
Yeah, hold it sideways a little longer so we can all look at it. Just so see everybody. There's what is that 3 or 4? I can't tell. 3 layers on that one.
This one's 3 layers.
Very cool.
Yeah, I wish I could show you the Punisher one, but that one's too hard to hold. But the Punisher one, I have like it with acrylic and it lights up. It's really cool.
I've seen it. It's cool.
And then if you add like color pencils, I know we were talking about this earlier.
Yes.
I colored this whole thing by hand with like multiple shadings and stuff. It's really cool.
Man, that is awesome.
And there's the side view of this one. This one's only 2 layers, but
so colored pencils.
Yep.
And you did this on, was it maple?
Yeah. So the back side looks like this. This is just maple.
Yep.
This was back with the maple with the MDF core from Menards. I used to use this all the time before I started manufacturing. Or I actually have somebody who manufactures like AA grade wood now, and every once in a while I'll ship that out to some people.
That's cool. Well, and there's one thing, if you guys want to try this, like Josh has done, one thing he pointed out was that if you really can't use proof grade material because it has that finish on it, it's shiny. So it's a little hard. It's a little hard to get your pencils to stick to that. So you need to have something that doesn't have the shiny finish on it, right?
Yeah, you can get it to work, but you got to really dig into it, and it's not even worth it on the proof grade just because of that like gloss on there for the color pencils. But yeah, on raw wood, color pencils is really cool for maple. So
I love it. Yeah. Oh, you have another thing on your website. It was that was it say welcome? I'm trying to remember what it said. Was the welcome sign?
That was on YouTube.
It was on YouTube. That's right. Yeah. You were talking about how to do that. In fact, let me pull that up too. Was that under?
It's like color shading with color pencils or something like that. I'll have to here again. But yeah, I did a live, not really a live, but a sped up version of me hand coloring it. But it takes forever to hand color those.
I still want to share these too.
It's called Color Shading a Laser Engraved Playing Card.
Yep, I found it.
Yeah.
So guys, check this out. This is on his YouTube here. I'm going to kind of put both of these on the screen. There's Color Shading a Laser Engraved Playing Card by hand right here. That's really cool. And then also, I think this one's gorgeous. Quick look at color layering for laser projects. This welcome sign, really, really pretty. So definitely just go to his YouTube channel, Fresh Start Customs, and just search for color, and you'll find both of these or all of these.
Yeah.
So check those out. I see that. I just realized I'm not even showing that. Let me actually show it. Sorry, my bad. I'll do it again.
Yeah.
So color shading a laser engraved playing card by hand right here. Yeah. And then quick look at color layering for laser projects also.
And that one right there with the Santa, that was the proof grade stuff, but it took forever to do that. So that's why it says taking a risk at coloring. Yeah. So.
These are all great. So check those all out. It may be exactly right for you. It may not be, but either way, it'll give you another idea for just being creative with your projects, which I think is really worth it.
Yeah.
Great. In fact, Elizabeth said, let me just show her comment. Would love to learn the technique for making the comic book covers. I have a card making background and love making interactive and layered cards. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, like I said, that's exactly how I did it there. Is you bring it into Photoshop and then you have to do everything by hand. It takes forever. I think each one of those took me like 3 hours because you have to draw everything out by hand, and then you hit Command or Control, depending on which one you're on, Shift and J, and that'll create a secondary layer after you have it created. And then you'll duplicate those layers, turn it solid black on both layers, bring the both in on top of each other in Illustrator, and then you'll turn that rasterized image into a vector, and then create cut lines. I know it's easier said than done, but it's a long process.
But it sure is cool result, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And Kat, I want to say it's good to have you back. Oh, you're camping. I'm jealous. I love camping. It's 1,000 degrees here right now,
yeah,
so
as long as it's good weather, camping's fine.
I know, but man, I'm looking forward to going camping here in the fall. Me and my family, we're definitely glampers, right? I mean, like we go camping, but we bring the crock pots and the coffee maker and the all that kind of stuff. We just got a travel trailer from my mom, so we've been able to start doing that. But I'm looking forward to college football season, hoping that maybe the Wolverines can beat the Buckeyes again. I don't know, probably not, but maybe. So Josh and I will be friends 11 and a half months out of the year. And then there's that one weekend, and I think in November. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really watch football that often, but every once in a while, whenever that game in particular is on, then everybody around here goes crazy for it.
Sure. There's two related questions here. I'll just throw them on the screen. Do you have a video for us visual learners? I don't think you have one for the comic books, right?
Yeah, I don't have like the full technique, just because, like I said, that'd be like a 3-hour long video.
Yeah.
But if you want to learn like how to do the shading, because that's part of like the 3-hour process, I've got like an hour-long video on, because you see how well like the shading colors are in there.
Yeah.
That's literally a rasterized image, and then I walk you through on Photoshop on how I do all the manual shadings like manually, and that's why it takes me forever. I do like custom cutouts and all sorts of different shadings with like the burn tool and all sorts of cool stuff.
It's very cool though. Yeah. And then Matt asks, could you do all the layers in Illustrator for comics? I think you could, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, because I'm not that advanced with Illustrator, but since I started off with like a rasterized image, I do all that with Photoshop because I've been doing that since high school, so I know how to use it. And then I just import it into Illustrator when I get it to the point where I want.
Matt, I think you can, but I'm not sure because he's Josh is right. When it starts out being a raster, right, like a JPEG or whatever it is you're using.
Because if you do like an image trace on it, then it's going to be
messed up. Yeah,
it's going to be a mess, and all your shading is going to be completely off. So that's why I do it this way. Right. That way you can keep half of it as a rasterized image, and then just the vector is the cut line around it.
Oh, you know what you could do? You could sorry, everybody, me and Josh are going to nerd out for just a second. So you could bring in the raster into Illustrator, and what I'd probably do is just lock that layer so it doesn't move on you. And then you could use the pencil or the pen tool, and you could trace it right there.
Yeah, but then you still have one layer that cuts 3 times on top of each other. Yeah. That's why you need to
may or may not figure it out.
Separate it all within Photoshop first.
That's true. Yep.
That's why it's a really long process. If somebody else has a better way, there might be in Illustrator, but
I thought I had it for about 2 seconds there, and then I realized I didn't. That's great. All right, that's awesome. Well, guys, let us know if you have any other questions for Josh, but he is a great supporter of the community, and you'll definitely enjoy being in his group. Lots of people you already know are probably there. Definitely check out his YouTube, check out his website. Again, we're going to do Win Stuff Wednesday tomorrow, and we're going to be able to give away a gift card for his website, so that'll be cool as well. What did you say? I'm sorry, I asked you when we first started. I think I distracted you. Are you working on any new designs right now?
Right now is those like cup holders, kind of like for like pop cans or beer cans. I've been making a lot of different variations of those. Right now I'm working on a double version of it for like these really large cups here, because the original ones only held like the bare cans and the bottles, and people wanted larger size stuff. So, but yeah, I tend to focus on get locked in on something similar, and then that's why you see like
I do too.
that game stand, and then all of a sudden people wanted Switch game stands and
Right.
Oculus Drift game stands and all sorts of different ones. So I think I've got pretty much every single one covered now.
Oh, yeah. Judy said SVGs. Okay, this is what came to my mind. We can talk about whatever you want, but remember how you and I were, let me see, we were talking about Inkscape. Oh, yeah, right. I was talking about Inkscape and how sometimes when you bring an SVG in, it doesn't always size correctly. And we were talking about how I made a video that talked about how to set up Inkscape to make it the right size. And then you said,
yeah, I said, so if you just use a PDF file, it'll lock in the correct settings because it basically locks in the scaling across platforms. So that's why, like, whenever you see one of my files, if you click the PDF folder, it literally says use for Inkscape or any other thing besides Illustrator, because a lot of times people's Inkscape will be set up with like different settings, and it'll cause the file to scale down or up in size based on their settings. And you literally have no control over that because it's the settings that they have set for their program.
right.
But if you use a PDF, then you don't even have to worry about that scaling or changing like the, I think it's like points or whatever it was. I made a video on how to fix that scaling too. So.
Look at Josh going and making it easy. Stop that. No, that's really great. And honestly, that I'm gonna just test it so I know how it works myself. But yeah, I'm gonna do that from now on. You know.
Yeah, because that's like like I told you earlier today. I ever since June of last year, I started including like a README first file. That literally has like 1 through 8 steps or 1 through 6 steps that will teach you everything that we've talked about today, like why kerf is important, why the exact material thickness is important, why you should use a PDF file if you're buying it from someone that used a different program than you, because that'll prevent like scaling. And then I know we talked about kerf earlier too, where
well, let's talk about that. Yeah. So let me preempt this, and then you can tell everybody. So Josh and I both deal with kerf. I don't know about every day, but all the time. And he has a tutorial on kerf or several, and I have several also. And we do the same thing, but we do it a little differently, and they're both legit. Okay. So, and Jenny, I see your question. We'll get there in just a second. I won't forget you. But talk about how I do just one direction, you do both, but talk about that a little bit, about how it's different and why you do it that way.
Yeah, so I do both. So it's both this way and up and down. I know, Mark, I think you just do up and down.
I do, but
I'm sure you have to do it side to side when it comes to like edges, don't you?
I don't, but actually after talking to you, I think your way's probably a little better.
So yeah, that's why I do it both ways, because if you come to an edge, then it still catches kerf this way. And it also makes it really nice and tight where you hardly ever need glue. That's why, like, if you use one of my designs, it's going to look like the slot doesn't fit. You're going to push by hand. It's not going to work by hand. That's why I always say you have to use a rubber tip hammer. You just tap it in there,
but
not
then
like slam it in there. Use the weight of the hammer.
Right.
And it will do the work for you.
But it does not come out, right? When you get it that way.
It's nice and tight, and it does not come out. I wish I had an example here, but
but I know what you mean, right? It's nice and solid.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it makes it real nice and solid. I hardly ever use glue on any of my designs unless there's like a cap that covers it, like that wood planner uses the outside to cover the slots. So yeah, I try to make mine really nice and tight all the way around, especially with the sides. I have a good example here, because this one, I downsized a box and then I didn't think about kerf.
Oh, I've done
I already had it adjusted for kerf at the large size. And then whenever I edited it, it took half the kerf on there. This one is loose, but it still kind of holds together by itself. But if I would shake this back and forth, it's going to come apart really easily. I don't know if you see that, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that is half kerf, and it came apart that easy. So that was like 0.007.
Yeah.
I usually use like 0.013 on all 4 edges usually. So yeah.
That's great. So guys, this is now let me back up here, Josh. Now that you've done this for a while, kerf is not hard, is it? I mean, once you figure it out, it's not difficult.
Yeah, and
Uh,
especially like I was telling you earlier, I once you get down like the perfect slot for you,
yeah.
I use that throughout all my designs.
Yeah.
So I usually use like a 0.75-inch tab that sticks out, and then my slot is usually 0.737. So if you want to use those numbers, that's what I use all the time.
Sure. In fact, I want to get Jenny's question backing up a little bit about the PDF thing that you were talking about.
Yeah.
She asked, "Is that the same for Glowforge, bringing in a PDF rather than SVG?" I'll answer that. I'll let you follow up, Jenny. If an SVG or a vector is made properly, it won't matter. It'll always come in the right size, whether it's an SVG or a PDF, into the Glowforge website. Now, if you bring it into the Glowforge website and it changes size on you, Josh, I want you to weigh in on this after I do, but if it changes size, that means that the person, like an Illustrator, has checked the box that says responsive. And when they save it, that means that it will sometimes change size when it comes in somewhere else. If they don't click that, like they should not, then a PDF or an SVG or a DXF is another file format that the Glowforge uses, and they'll all keep the right size. Has that been your experience also, Josh?
Yeah. So, and then there's a small caveat to that too. Kind of like what we are talking about, why you should use PDF with Illustrator first. So so in like you said, if someone checks responsive in Illustrator, that's just gonna throw it off, and you'll know right away that that was just a bad design if you uploaded it straight how you bought it.
Yeah.
Now, if let's say you used that keychain stand I had earlier that had words on top, and you got to edit those words off. If you bring it into Illustrator as an SVG file, and then your Illustrator program scales that down, you make the changes and you save it again, then it's going to be saved scaled down, and you're uploading that scaled down one to Glowforge.
Right.
So you want to take the PDF file, bring it into Illustrator, make your changes, save it as a PDF again, and it locks that setting in. Then you can upload it to Glowforge, and there won't be any scaling issues.
Right. So, long story short, if you're not having scaling issues, keep doing what you're doing. Don't change anything. That's great, right? But if you're having scaling issues, try a PDF instead, is what we're saying, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because for me, I use SVGs almost 100% of the time, back, forth, in, out, and it never changes. But I do know that if something changes, I can either mess around with the settings or just jump to a PDF, either one. Let me grab two things here real quick. Sorry, I don't know who's asking here, Facebook user. I know the answer, but what laser does Josh use?
So I have 2 Glowforge Basics and a Glowforge Pro. So I use all 3 of them.
All right, cool. And then I just want to mention what Kat says here. I know you say, this is directed at me because I say this all the time. I know you say we all need to get familiar with kerf, but still do everything to avoid using my calipers. I need to embrace it. I think probably Josh and I would ultimately agree on that you should get comfortable with calipers, because there's always a time here or there where you're going to need to use it and it's going to help. Of course, I've got my free slot sizer that everybody can use, but there are times when this doesn't help or it doesn't do what you need. Like, let's say you're measuring a cutting board and you want to know how high you need to raise the cutting board up to get it in the focal zone. This isn't going to help at all. So there are times when you need to use your calipers. And I think that once you get your head around what kerf is doing, for example, it becomes all of a sudden easy once it clicks. And Kat, I know you can master this. I believe in you, and we've talked before, and I would love to help you. And I know Josh would too, because we love seeing the light come on, and I know it will. I absolutely know it.
Yeah, definitely watch that Glowforge to the Point series. That one on kerf, I have like a hand-drawn spreadsheet with all the info on it. So
that's great. Check that out, guys, for sure. And then Michelle says, I use SVGs all the time. Can you cut with PDFs? Absolute. Well, sorry. Most lasers, yes. I don't know which laser you're talking about, but with your Glowforge, you can cut PDFs, SVGs, and DXFs as the three vector formats. One thing that's important for a lot of people to remember is that SVGs, excellent. I love that cat. Thank you. And Crystal, stop it, Crystal. We know that you can do kerf, so quit it. But let me talk about this real fast, and Josh, again, jump in this too. PDFs and SVGs are what we call container files, meaning that it just contains a bunch of data. But if it's an SVG, that does not automatically mean that it's a vector. It could be a vector, but you can have a JPEG or a PNG and just save as SVG, and guess what it is? It's still a JPEG or a PNG just inside an SVG. So it didn't become something it wasn't already.
Yeah.
So just be careful. If someone says I have an SVG, that does not mean it's a vector. Same thing with the PDF, exactly.
And that's why, like, you always want to read like the descriptions of like items too, because believe it or not, I do have some items that contain like a rasterized image that I do on purpose in order to get that nice shading effect I was talking about on this right here.
Yeah.
So you just want to read the description if you want to know that for sure, but it's very limited that I have that on. But,
sure.
But yeah, you can get some cool effects by turning into like a rasterized image to get a nice shade across the way. So it's pretty cool.
But it is important to know that you can save an SVG or a PDF is not automatically a vector.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Here's a good one. Again, how long have you been using the Glowforge, Josh? Is it 5 years, right? 6?
Yeah, 5 years. Whenever.
2017 is when you got yours. So
yeah, probably.
Yeah. So yeah, same as I did.
Yeah, because like we were like one of the first ones who signed up. Like you definitely were before me, but
not by much.
I learned about it right as the campaign was coming out, and I was like, man, I've got like 3,000 in my bank account right now. I'm gonna definitely get it.
Oh, let me tell you the truth. My mother bought mine for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because I didn't have the money, and she's just a blessing, such a wonderful person, and she believed in me. You know, even when I didn't really know what I was doing, she said, "I think you can make cool stuff with this." And of course, my mom's house has got all kinds of big blue laser design stuff in it, whether she likes it or not.
How many family members told you should cancel that thing?
Well, I stopped telling them that I still, you know, because they're a little embarrassing. Hey, did you get your laser yet? No, not yet.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, though. I'm so glad that I didn't, because it was just, it brought happiness from the beginning, from just like making it a hobby. And then it just kind of took off from there. And it's just been a whole different change.
I agree. In fact, you know, this is probably a good way to kind of transition. We can close up tonight. But everybody, let me just tell you, Josh is one of the many people that I met through having a Glowforge and having a laser. And I'm really thankful to call Josh a friend. And if it weren't for these communities and us, you know, being in that stupid long 2-year wait for our Glowforge, we may not have ever connected. And I think this is really cool. I love designing, but I love the relationships that I've been able to make with, you know, so many of you here I know. And so I just want to tell you, if you don't know Josh, connect with him on whatever platform you want in his Facebook group, because I really think it's going to be valuable for you. And we also, all of you know that me and Will have got a conference coming up here in like 16 days. Oh my gosh. And Crystal is one of the instructors at that. So that's going to be great. But that's going to be a chance for a bunch of us to meet in person and connect at a deeper level. It's going to be really cool. I'm going to be working on having an Oklahoma hangout right after our conference. So beginning of September, if you guys are in Oklahoma, I'd love to have you drive up and spend 3 or 4 hours with me in the Tulsa area. I'm going to find a place. I think it's just going to be like $20 or maybe $15. Just throw me some money so I can get you some lunch, and we'll cater in some lunch and hang out for 3 or 4 hours and talk lasers and that kind of thing. That'll be fun. And then I have, Josh, I don't know if this is going to work out, but I would love, and Will would love, to be able to run around the country, maybe, you know, come to Ohio and hang out for a day and just hang out with a bunch of laser people. And I don't know if we can make it happen, but we're going to try. So just everybody keep in touch with us. But once again, go subscribe to Josh's YouTube channel, join Glowforge at Home Facebook group, and go buy a whole bunch of stuff at freshstartcustoms.com. And watch my group tomorrow morning for the Win Stuff Wednesday, and we're going to have fun doing that. Jessica, thank you. Oh, hey, Judy's in North Texas. You can come up and see us. That'd be fun. So definitely let us know. Watch my group, and we'll talk about that. There lots of good comments here. You guys are so welcome.
Another thing,
everybody
is another thing I wanted to point out real quick is if anybody in the chat hasn't been on the actual Glowforge forums, like the community forums, there's all sorts of information you can find there.
Years of information.
Like I remember, like even before the Glowforge shipped out, we were talking about like crickets and making like stickers and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. There's some great people there. Thousands of people there. So it's community.glowforge.com. Community.glowforge.com. And when you go to your Glowforge login, it's actually up at the top of the website. It's up there, so you can get there anytime you want. So glad this has been helpful for everybody. We love doing this. Definitely having Josh come on again, because this has been a blessing for everybody. I know it. So go buy a bunch of stuff from him, and we will have him back again really soon. Josh, say bye to everybody.
I'll see you guys later. It's good.
All right.
Good seeing everybody.
Thank you so much, guys. We will see you again soon. Josh, hang out, and we will say bye. The rest of you, we will see you in the groups and in the Glowforge at Home Facebook group. Talk to you later. Have a good night. Bye.